Okay, today we're going to be making Salisbury steak, one of my favorite meals. Salisbury steak, hook it up with some mashed potatoes and some fried spinach. Okay, so to start, this is only a 2-serving recipe I'm giving you. So we're going to do 1 egg. I'm going to use 3 teaspoons of egg beaters instead. 3 tablespoons, 1/4 cup of milk. I'll be using 1/8 cup of half and half. 1 envelope of gravy mix. Instead of me using a whole package of gravy for 2 servings, 2 to 3 probably, I'm going to just use a couple tablespoons of brown gravy mix that I just buy, a container of it. 1 teaspoon of dried minced onion. I also have 1 teaspoon of bell pepper. Mine is fresh. I'm not using dry minced onion. You can. And then it tastes better to hook it up with some bell pepper in it too. Garlic if you want to, but I'm not going to stay away from the garlic today. Half cup of water, or you can go 1/4 and bring it up if it's, when we get to that stage, if it's a little dry. And 1 tablespoon of prepared yellow mustard. Yes, mustard like you put on a hot dog does go in this, and it does make a difference in the taste, trust me. So, as I said, this is only 2 servings, maybe 3. And we'll go ahead and get started on this in a minute. I am going to show you how to kind of make this because it's not as simple as some people think. It's not a hamburger simmered in gravy. That is not Salisbury steak, not according to me. We'll go ahead and hook it up, show you how to make it. If you wear rings, you might want to rid yourself of those because it's very messy, or wear latex gloves to do your patties with that we're going to make because it is messy. So I'll get back to you in a minute and we'll get it going. Okay, first of all, what we have here are all of our ingredients. We have our breadcrumbs, our gravy mix, our yellow mustard, onion bell pepper blend that I usually freeze. I got egg beaters here, half and half in there. And then I'm going to season my meat with Chef Prudhomme's 7-herb blend seasoning because it don't have no salt. And then this regular black pepper. Got a bowl to whisk up our ingredients in. I'm going to show you. Little whisk here. If you have one of these, this will be helpful, or you can whisk it up with a fork. Wax paper will come in handy with this if you have any, to put the patties on to keep them from sticking, especially with the ground turkey. It's a little sticky. Got a pan here. We're going to do some bake them in, broil them for a little bit, and then a pot here, little saucepan rather, that we just going to make a little bit more extra gravy in toward the end. Alright, so that's what we got to get it started. So let's get it to cracking. What I'm doing here is just getting my meat nice and seasoned. I put the Chef Prudhomme 7-spice blend seasoning in there. And I just want to get that mixed in there good before I put it in there with the egg and the little mixture we just had created. And I got black ground pepper in there too. Go ahead and get that there. Okay. A little switcheroo there. And then what we're going to do is just put the meat in there. And put it in little pieces like in there, like that. Like I say, you can have a bigger bowl than this, but I just using this little one. I can work with pretty much anything in the kitchen, pretty much. We're going to put that in there like that. This is where the mess comes in, because you got to get all that mixture in there. And it's very messy. But you got to do that and get it all through the meat, like such. This is why you don't want to have it on the rings. I usually have my rings on, but don't want them to get all dirtied up and have to clean them or take them somewhere to get them clean if they get too dirty. Okay, so that's what that looks like. It don't look like much now, but don't judge the book by the cover, as they say, because that's some good stuff, man. Trust me. Okay. So on to the next step. Now, the easiest way to do this is spray your pan, especially if you're using ground turkey or ground chicken. Spray that pan because otherwise your meat is going to stick. Okay, now you're just going to make these into some patties. And like I say, if I was making a large quantity of these, I would put them on that wax paper But since I'm not going to worry about that. So you just want to make those into some patties. Make them thin. Don't make them too thick either, because otherwise they'll be a little tough if you make them, especially depending on the meat you're using. If you're using 70-30 ground beef or 80-20, it probably won't be too bad. But if you're using a chuck or a very lean meat, if you make them real thick, they're going to be tough. I can guarantee you that, because I did that the last time I made these babies. I caught myself making some with some 97 lean ground beef, and I wished I had not have done it. Okay, I had to end up simmering them in the skillet for a long time to get them tender. And okay, so there we have that. Like I say, this is messy, but it'll be good. While we're waiting for our meat, which should be done in a few minutes, I just thought I'd show you another one of my little kitchen gadgets. Baby surprised me and bought me a little something to hold pasta the other day. I thought that was nice, and it's first I didn't particularly want it, but after I was able to do this, oh yeah, I said, okay, I think I can work with that. So that's a nice little colorful thing she brought home for me the other day. I thought that was nice. And it will remind me to eat more pasta. Okay, now what we're going to do here is just mix in our gravy and our mustard. Pour our gravy in there. And we're just going to get that mustard in there. And what you're going to do is just kind of whisk that together. Bring it to a boil like gravy. And like I say, trust me, that mustard off in there, that's what's going to give it its unique taste. If you want more gravy than this, you can always make some more. But like I said, this is only 2 servings, so I'm not trying to really go hard on that gravy, because it'll be a lot extra and it won't get eaten. And I don't freeze gravy. Okay, so we'll go ahead and let that get ready, and we'll come back and check on our meat in the oven. And keep in mind, when you put the patties in the oven, you can just let those get, done. You have them be done, but they don't have to be ready to go on the plate, actually, because you're going to put the gravy over them. So, and then we're going to put them in a skillet. I choose to put them in a skillet. A lot of times you can take this gravy and just pour over it, put it on a plate, and go ahead and serve it up with your sides. But I want to simmer it because I like mine to be very tender, fork tender. I don't believe in chewing nothing and making a job out of it. So therefore, everything, they will be very tender. If you just want to put them in the oven and broil them for about 15 or 20 minutes. It don't take them long to cook unless you make them real thick. Then they'll take longer. The inside of them should be about 160 degrees if you cook with a thermometer, but I usually cook by eye most of the time, and you can pretty much tell when they're done. Okay, so our gravy is pretty much done there, and a nice little thickness there going on. So I'll go ahead and cut that off, and then our meat should get done, and then we'll come back and finish this dish up. Okay, now what we're going to make here is fried spinach. The key to fried spinach is getting your spinach very, very dry. We just use 2 cans of spinach here. There's this kind here. And I put it in a colander. And the key to it, like I say, is getting it real dry, getting all that juice out of the spinach. The drier it is, the better. You can also use fresh spinach for this if you want. Just cut it up. That'll be fine too. You don't have to use the kind in the can. But since I had some, I used it. Okay. Now, one of the key ingredients in fried spinach is the onion. So what we're going to do is just cut up some of this onion. And depends on it how much you like. I think this here will be suffice. And you can just cut it up. It don't have to be cut in large or small, too small of pieces. It don't have to be minced or anything. Just basically cut it up. And then also, to get those big pieces in there, Okay. Okay, cut that up. And then egg is another thing. So what we're going to do is head on over to the stove. You want to have some oil for this, just enough to saute in per se. And then season your spinach how you like. I'll be using a low sodium seasoning on this. Probably some Mrs. Dash or either by Chef Prudhomme 7 Blend. I may use a pinch of seasoning salt. And we'll go ahead and get this fried spinach going. Okay, so basically, got our skillet getting hot. Just pour a little bit of olive oil in there. Olive oil, you don't have to use very much. Pour that in there and just let that get hot. And then we also are going to put some eggs in there. You want to have eggs in there. That get hot. I'm going to get out a little spray so I can go ahead and put my eggs in there too. Okay. Go ahead and pour a little egg in there. A little bit more. And go ahead and let that egg cook up. I'll put a little bit of garlic powder in there on that egg and a little pepper, since I didn't use garlic in the Salisbury steak. And we'll go ahead and just kind of scramble that up a little bit. Don't have to be too bad because it's going to go too much, because it's going to go in with the spinach and the onion is going to be in there, so it's going to get torn up anyway. So we got that. And we're going to get our onion popping off in there. Got our onions in there. And then also you can use bacon bits now, or regular bacon. A lot of people cook regular bacon in this first and then use the grease to cook the egg and then to saute the onion. I'm just going to pour some bacon bits in here because I don't have any regular bacon. I don't buy regular bacon anymore. All I have is turkey bacon and it's frozen. So I'm just going to improvise. Just kind of get that going. And you can put bell pepper in this too if you like. But since I put a lot out in the Salisbury steak, I try to balance stuff out. I don't want it to be too bell peppery. Okay, now, ready for our spinach now. Go ahead and put that in there. Basically, there's our spinach going in there. Season this up too. Matter of fact, before that even gets really mixed up, I want to go ahead and season this. Okay, now what I think I'm going to season this with, where's my Chef Prudhomme's? Go ahead and hook it up with some of that. And I can use a lot of this because it don't have no salt in it. But whatever you want to season yours with is fine. Some good stuff, Maynard. It don't look like much, but it smells good too. And then also I'm going to use just a smidgen of seasoning salt. Oh, there it is. Just a little bit of seasoning salt. Okay. And got to pepper it up, of course. Alright. And then basically all you do is just kind of saute it around, put a lid on it. We usually let ours sit for about 30 minutes or so. It won't dry out because it's got lots of moisture still in the spinach, even though we drained it good. Let that sit in there. Spinach can be a little bitter. Some people don't like it, but it's very good for you. With that in mind, though, I'm going to put a little smidgen of sugar off in there. A little smidgen of white sugar. Ain't going to hurt nothing. Make it a little sweeter. Kill some of the bitterness in there. Okay. So there's your fried spinach. Go ahead and just put a lid on that and let that set for about, like I say, we do ours for about 30 minutes. To each his own. Cook it as long or as little as you like. If you want a strong, poignant, spinachy taste, you can actually eat it just like that. But your onions will cook down in there a little bit too. The onions probably now are still quite crunchy. So if we put a lid on it, 15 minutes if you want it kind of really strong spinach taste. 30 minutes or so if you want it to cook down in there and taste a little better for you. Fried spinach. Okay, well our Salisbury steaks are done. So what we'll do is go ahead and get those out of the pan here. And that's what they came out like. And what we're going to do, I'll go ahead and spray this first. Almost forgot to spray it. A nice little coat of spray on it. And just sit those in there. Okay. And as you can see, those are pretty lean. It didn't leave too much oil or anything in there. And then what we're going to do is get our gravy and pour that over them. Just pour the gravy over them. And then you can just let that simmer. And like I say, if you don't mind the texture of them like they are, you can actually just eat them now. And they go great with rice, mashed potatoes, things like that. So we'll go ahead and just kind of get those babies in there. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and leave that like that. I think I'm going to give those a nice little flip in there without tearing them up. Alright, yep, there they go. With gravy is on over all of it. Okay. Okay, I think they're pretty well coated. Nice little bell pepper there that's got my name written on it. Love bell pepper. Okay, so we'll go ahead and let that simmer. And then we'll come back and make a plate and see how everything tastes. By the way, you do want to put a lid on this. I just swapped the lid off of our spinach. See how that's coming along. Looks like our spinach is doing fine. Yeah, and you can feel it's getting a little bit drier, which is fine. We want our onions to be soft in there, so that's coming along fine now. Just got to find another lid to put on there and let that simmer along with the Salisbury steaks. Then we'll be done. What we have here to go with this meal is a nice little small pot of mashed potatoes. I just threw those together. I know everybody pretty much know how to make mashed potatoes, so I wasn't going through all the rigmarole showing you how to make those. I got a few little bacon bits off in there, parsley and some chive. Okay, so here we have our meal. I put a little Parmesan cheese on top of the spinach. Got the mashed potatoes good, ready to go. And the Salisbury steak, very tender, like I like it. This is very good. And it's under 500 calories. So a very good, healthy meal. Quick to make. I made all of this stuff in less than an hour. And I think it's something that everybody pretty much will like. If you don't like spinach, green beans, salad, whatever. Nice to have a green vegetable, though, to go with any meal, but particularly this one. It makes it more filling. So, there you have it. Salisbury steak, fried spinach, mashed potatoes, and a nice piece of light wheat bread.